reporting Draymond Green punched Jordan Poole at the Warriors practice session yesterday. The swinging Poole, it didn't hurt him, but a heated discussion building up led to that physical altercation. The Warriors are reviewing the fight, and possibly Draymond could be facing some punishment. I don't know, pent-up preseason energy? Shannon, what do you think's going on here?
This is what you're dealing with Draymond. Skip, Draymond sees himself as the gatekeeper for the Golden State Warriors. So if he sees someone getting out of line, if he sees someone that's not adhering to the culture, someone starts to feel, maybe Jordan Poole starts to feeling good about himself. And all of a sudden say, well, hey, it's Steph, Clay, and me now. And Draymond said, hold on, wait a minute, young fella. This is the way it works around here. And this is the way it's always going to work around here as long as I'm around here. And so, from what I've been reading, they've kind of had a little contentious relationship a little bit. I don't think it's a Michigan State thing. I think it has more to do with maybe Jordan Poole starting to feel good about himself. He's about to come into a large sum of money, and he's deservedly so. He's earned that.
Agreed.
And maybe he's not being the team player or the player that Draymond thinks that's conducive for them to continue to flourish and win championships. And so Draymond probably stepped to him and says, okay, young fella, what's going on? What's on your mind? What's on your heart? Why are you behaving in a manner that's not Warrior basketball? So that's how Draymond views himself. Draymond is the heartbeat. He's not the best player. He's never been the best player, and he's never going to be the best player. But he provides something that nobody else can provide. Skip, he can guard Nikola Jokic, Joel Embiid. He'll jump out there, guard KD. He'll jump out, guard Chris Paul. He provides them with something that no other player has been able to provide for them. And so with that being said, he's the pulse. He's the heartbeat. Not the best player, but he understands his role. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, they love him. He understands. There's something, that dribble handoff that he has with Steph, with Klay, and then sometimes he'll fake the handoff and he'll go drive it to the basket. He'll lay it up and dunk it himself. So, Skip, I think this is what's at play here. And sometimes Draymond is like medicine. You don't really like this, Skip, but but it makes you feel better. I'm not so sure that the Warriors really like all the antics that come along with Draymond, Skip, but they understand this is a necessary evil and it's a part of who he is. And sometimes he goes over the line. He knows that. He knows he goes over the line. I think he got ejected. He came close to getting ejected in the Boston series. He did get ejected, I think, if I'm not mistaken, in the
Memphis.
Memphis
well, you remember
series.
he had the AB style meltdown walk-off, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Skip, I just think the thing is, this is what you're going to have to deal with. Draymond sees himself as, like I said, he's the gatekeeper. This is the way we do things here, Skip. You got somebody like, okay, this is the way we do things. This is the way it flows. And if somebody tries to get outside of that, Skip, you address it. And I'm not saying this is the right way to address it. Maybe he could have talked to Jordan Poole. Maybe he did have these conversations with Jordan Poole. And Jordan Poole's like, bro, I'm a grown man. I'm about to get this $130 million, this 4-year extension. Y'all can't tell me nothing. Draymond said, watch this. Eye closed.
Although, to your last point, I thought the key line in the Woj report was Jordan Poole was not hurt by the punch. That's the Draymond I know. I believe he is more of an instigator than a participator in fights. I was shocked that he allegedly threw at all, because he is more instigator, agitator than finisher in a fight. I haven't seen him fight. I know they strongly discourage it, but he never comes across, and I get you, like he is the gatekeeper, but he's not really the enforcer type.
Right.
You
hope it, Skip, you hope it doesn't get to that point.
Yeah.
You understand, Skip, that's kind of what I was in Denver. Look, okay, guys, rookie, you come in, you singing. You got to bring donuts. You got to bring sandwiches. Right. This has been in place, Skip. Before you got here, it's going to be in place before you leave. You just, look, it's not you. You make it seem like you're the only one that's going to have to do this. You're the only one. So, Skip, you don't want it to get to a fight, but you encourage, you're going to do this, or consequences and repercussions going to happen.
Okay. Well, it sounds like they have had an ongoing discussion every practice, every minute, where they're just constantly into it. And it sounds like Jordan Poole is the one fairly new Warrior who gives it right back to him.
Right.
in the past, everybody paid their homage and respect. They just didn't engage. They didn't return fire. And now Jordan Poole's right back in his face until Draymond just couldn't take it anymore. And I guess he swung on it. But the point is there some threat to his domain? He was considered at least the third member of the Big Three. Is he now being threatened by the fact, wait a second, maybe Jordan Poole is going to be the third member of the Big Three? And remember, Draymond in this league has overachieved. I'm going to remind everybody, he stayed at Michigan State all 4 years. All 4 years, when does that happen? All 4 years you stayed there and never won a champ, never led them to champ. They got to the championship game when he was a freshman and lost to your Tar Heels. But the point is, Jordan Poole has star quality. He has star power. There are nights when Jordan Poole gets it going where I say, that's right up there with Steph Curry. When he gets cooking, he can flat out score it from anywhere, anytime, any way, shape, or form. He can score the basketball.
Remember, Skip, the first half of the year last year, Clay didn't play. It was Poole. It was a pool party.
It was a pool party, and he kept them afloat in the pool, right? And I remind everybody, here are Draymond's career numbers: 9 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. Not bad, not star, obviously. He's made 4 All-Star teams in 10 years, so he hasn't even made half the years in the All-Star team. He had one chunk where they were in the finals in those years when he was All-Star, All-Star, All-Tar, but before that he was 3 years without All-Star, and after the finals run, 3 years without All-Star until last year when they won it all.
But he's so much more than numbers. I mean, you can't quantify what he does, because if you just look at the numbers, you're like, Draymond, why are you doing all this? He's so much more than what the numbers says that he is.
He has been guts and glue for that team from the start, and especially it did hurt them when LeBron stole that ring in 2016.
It is, stop saying that.
But it was classic Draymond because he instigates. He gets into it with LeBron. He screams out the B word at him. You're a B, and everybody could hear it in the first 3 rows, including Kiki Vandeweghe, who happened to be the Minister of Justice at that point for the NBA. And then he goes down to the other end and gets all tangled up and winds up kicking at LeBron's midsection. We've known, again, that's what I know him for, not throwing punches on the court. He'll kick people below the belt.
Got Steven Adams.
Okay, he got Steven Adams that same year, and I think Kiki finally said, okay, that's just enough. Well, I couldn't fathom in my wildest dreams you would suspend a key player for a game of the NBA Finals. Draymond Green got himself suspended for Game 5 of the NBA Finals back at Oracle, and you know the rest of the story. History happened. Because they were up 3-1, and then they were down 4-3.
And Poole probably said, Draymond, man, you're not finna, look, I understand you be trying to think of these light-skinned dudes weak and soft. And you figure you can talk to us and do anything you want to, bro, but I'm here to tell you, that's not finna fly with me. And sometimes, Skip, hey, you have to pick and choose your battle, because sometimes guys will step to you and they gonna test you now. And if you ain't ready to do this, just But seemed like Draymond was ready to do this. Skip, I met Draymond a couple of times, and I like him. I understand what he is and his role that he plays for the Warriors. But for me, long term, I don't think it's going to have any significant damage that all of a sudden he's not going to pass Poole the ball. Poole's not going to play his role. Poole is going to be Jordan Poole. They had an issue. Hopefully it's resolved. I don't know. You hear and say they're discussing internal discipline with Draymond. I don't know where that goes. We've seen them do internal discipline before when they had the KD incident. So maybe it's something along those lines. What, you going to suspend him in a preseason game? What the hell is that going to do? Maybe you find him a chunk of money. Maybe you find him, $100,000. I don't know what's the max you can find a player, Skip. A team can find a player. But maybe they go to that number and says, okay, Draymond, come on now. Enough is enough. We get what you're trying to do, and we appreciate your services, but we don't want you fighting and hitting our players.
Okay. He has a history of being hot-headed. I'll never forget that night, that great Saturday night game at Oklahoma City when it was KD and Westbrook. And Steph was going crazy and finally took the game over down the stretch. But at halftime, it was reported on, I believe it was on ABC, that Draymond just lost it at halftime and was screaming because nobody would let him shoot. They wouldn't pass him the ball. You want me not to play in the second half? So he went crazy. He's had these these bouts of tantrum throwing where he just loses it and goes crazy. This is just my personal opinion. I think he's basically a big bag of wind in the end. That's what he is, because Steve Kerr just lets the wind just sort of blow out of him, and then they go on about their business. There's going to come a point as he comes up for a contract, because this is the last year. He has an option for another year, but as far as becoming a free agent, if he wants his money, he's going to push the envelope to become a little more trouble than he's worth.
Yeah.
He's 32 going on 33 in March.
Right.
At some point, the Warriors, the front office is going to sit back and say, you know what? Especially if you have any more practice kind of incidents that are disruptive, maybe you're just not worth the trouble.
Well, the Warriors paid $170 million in luxury tax last season. The question for the answer for me, and I think this is a no-brainer for everyone. Draymond is more valuable to the Warriors than anywhere else in the league.
I would agree.
He's not like a Kevin Durant or Joel Embiid or one of these top-tier guys that can go anywhere and still be that. He's most valuable.
He fits for them.
Yes.
But on the open market, is anybody going to jump?
But what's his Skip? What's his value to the Warriors? That's my thinking. If I'm Draymond, what's my value? Now, I think he has one more year at $27 million, player option, I think, for $27 million. Now, do I want to say, man, I'm worth this, I want a max deal, I want $180 million, $200 million, or do I take, I don't know, whatever he can get, so we can do another 3 years, let's just say 3 years plus a player option at, say, $30 million. Another $100 million deal, 3 years, $100 million with a player option, make it 120, something like that, Skip. Because for me, Draymond, you're in the best situation. You have Steph, Clay, that environment that you've helped build in Golden State, your value, your max value. I'm not saying he won't get money elsewhere, Skip, but I don't believe he'll have the impact elsewhere that he has in Golden State. And what is that worth? What is the way they treat you, what you've built, that foundation that you've helped fostered in Golden State, what's that worth to you? Is making $4, $5, $6, $8 million a little more somewhere else, not having the impact, is that worth more than winning championships, contending for championships? That's what he's going to have to weigh.